consensus on anything. But my talk here today to you tonight is not going to be about politics or about what to believe or what policy views. Or I'm not a politician. I don't run for office. I never will run for office. I think our country needs transparency. It needs illumination. It needs revelation. It needs veritas. It needs the truth. And the truth shall set you free. We don't agree on what the truth is, which is a tragedy, because there is only one truth. So we have to expose it, and we have to open people's eyes. If we're unable to do that, there is no hope. But I am a very optimistic person. I'm very hopeful. So we run a news organization, a nonprofit organization called Project Veritas, and I'm going to talk to you for the next 40 minutes, and I'm going to tell you some stories about what we've done. Now, many of you have heard of these stories peripherally, but I'm going to really take you through them, and they're very entertaining. Truth is stranger than fiction. These are very impactful stories. This is a couple images of me in the beginning of Project Veritas. There's me as a pimp going to Acorn. Remember that story? Hannah Giles is the prostitute. We've posed as underage. We had underage girls in a brothel. I've crossed the border dressed like Osama bin Laden. I've gone undercover as a Muslim activist to expose NPR, and we have undercover reporters everywhere. Right now, Project Veritas has upwards of a few dozen journalists roaming the United States, blowing the whistle. And Gavin, if we can go to the next slide. Vision statement. We are the vehicle, let me go back. We are the vehicle that gives people hope. One of the things you hear from people is, what can I do? Right? You hear it all the time. What can I do? Or how about this? Nothing ever happens to these people. No one's ever held accountable, right? That's what probably you're all thinking. You give money to support causes, nothing ever happens. So really, it's up to us. It's up to the people to actually do the job, not up to politicians. So I'm going to take you first on the story we did recently. This is the most watched video in Project Veritas history I'm about to show you. Now, I'm banned on Twitter. Project Veritas is banned on Twitter. But this story was #1 trending on Twitter. So they tried to ban me by banning me, but that did not work. Because, as we say, content is king. So this is a Twitter engineer. He does not know that he's being videotaped. He's on a Tinder date with an individual who works for me. And he talks about how communist Twitter is. Let's listen to some of what he has to say.
In a capitalist, if we were really operating in a capitalist world with race and stuff, we're all like communists.
Call me as fuck. Call me as fuck. New York Post, blue check marks, hidden cam, Twitter engineers, all communist. We're all communists at Twitter, not socialists, communists. He also says they don't work very much there. They don't go to work. They don't work at all. This is as Elon Musk is trying to acquire the company.
Basically, when I work like 4 hours a week, that's 4 hours.
Yeah. How would you describe communism inside of Twitter?
Essentially, like, if you look into that law, you don't really care about like OpEx and capitalism, and care about sort of care about
So nobody works. We only work 4 hours a week, and we're all communists. So this is kind of an interesting graphic. Some of the memes that pop out of this is really funny. Random hot girl, Project Veritas. If you're an Indian tech bro, trust me, dude, she's not interested in your job or salary. She's there on behalf of Daddy, James O'Keefe. Look at this view count. I mean, I'm not even on Twitter. This thing, you can kind of see it, a little hard to see, but 3.8 million views. This was the #1 trend on Twitter. I'm not even on Twitter. But everyone else was uploading the clips, right? Everyone's uploading the clips. All right, next slide. Oh, whoops. A little delay there on the clicker. Yeah, if you're an Indian dude working in a big tech company and smoking hot chick, seems super into you. She is James O'Keefe. Tell me more about your job. Shocking new video shows Twitter executive. Sometimes a picture can tell an infinite amount of words, right? So, okay, so this breaks. Elon Musk responds. I want to take you through the anatomy of the story, because Project Veritas has done hundreds of these investigations. I think we can all agree we need more of this done in all areas of society. Even just today, I've gotten hundreds of tips, hundreds. So we need transparency everywhere. And this time, Elon Musk responds with saying, is this legitimate? Joe Rogan, I think, sent me a DM and he said, did you hire someone to play the role of a Twitter executive? Is this a real person? So there's a tendency to deny what you're seeing, right? Is this real? Well, yes, it's real. This guy shut his account down. People had, social media was rife with speculations about his identity. Many believed there were several who questioned his identity as an employee. So throughout my career, people have denied the recordings. They think that I doctor the tapes. I've never doctored a tape in my life. In fact, Project Veritas has been sued, and we've won every single case that we've litigated. Most recently, and I'm most proud of this, recently a historic victory in a defamation lawsuit against the New York Times who lied about us. So we don't lose in court. So this happens, and then, see,
well, right now we don't.
Then we record that. So we release multiple tapes. So they say, well, that's just an isolated incident. Remember that defense? So we have more and more employees at Twitter that we've recorded. And, well, that's just an engineer. He doesn't know anything about culture at Twitter. He's just an engineer. Well, let's talk. How about the director of sales? How about the vice president of the company? Does he know a thing or two about how they operate? So we speak with this man, Alex Martinez, and here's what he says.
Well, right now we don't make profit, so it's going to say ideology, which is what's led us to not be profitable. If we're implementing all these rules, but and Elon wants to dismantle them, and technically our ideology has led us to not making money.
The rest of us who have been here believe in something that's good for the planet and not just to give people free speech. These are the policies we've put in place for misinformation or mislabeling the media or whatever. Why do you think this should be taken down? Oh, because people should make their own decision. It's like, no, but people don't know how to make a rational decision if you don't put out correct things.
People don't know how to make a rational decision unless you put out the correct view. And this is the problem in media. I think you all know this, but it's worth talking about for a moment. The media is so political that they can't give you the facts. And they project their own political ideology onto people like me. Because they think, well, he must be the same way that we are. He must doctor tapes like we do. He must lie like we do. He must have an agenda that he's pushing down your throat like we do. I don't do that. They do that. He's saying that.
Well, right now we
don't. But of course, the most effective that way, you want solutions. The purpose of my speech today is to give you the solutions that you seek. Now, you may not like my solutions, but they are the solutions. They're not easy solutions, but they will work. Don't lecture them about constitutional jurisprudence. Don't tell them about the truth and justice in the American way. No. Make them live up to their own rules. Because if you expose them according to their own rule book, you will destroy them. They can't live up to their own book of rules. They have to live up to their own book of rules. So this is Alex Martinez talking about or mocking Elon Musk's special needs condition, as he describes it.
He has Asperger's.
He has Asperger's. He's special.
He's special. Special needs, really special needs. So, I can't even take what you're saying seriously.
I can't take what you're saying seriously because you're autistic, says the progressive enlightened vice president.
Yes,
so now this generates a reaction, right? we've released the first tape. We have not yet released this tape, but Twitter has put out an internal memorandum, which, by the way, was leaked to us by someone inside Twitter who works for me. We got people everywhere. We're like fleas. We're everywhere. They fear us so much. That the corporate behalf of CorpSec team, it's a little hard to read, so I'm going to read to you, and it's, by the way, it's so funny. In the last couple weeks, and as recently as yesterday, we've seen increasing targeting of tweeps. Tweeps. I guess that they're referring to Twitter employees that call themselves tweeps. That's weird. That's very cultish. Groups like Project Veritas are active right now. These groups use engineering tactics to get close to our staff, to obtain recordings. These tactics have included, but are not limited to, connecting with our people via Tinder, setting up interviews, soliciting information, soliciting recordings, and approaching people in public settings and questioning them. That's what journalists do. Given the interest in Twitter, we expect for this targeting to continue. Do not disclose confidential information that you are having. So Twitter is saying, don't talk to these Veritas people about all the things that you're doing and what you believe.
I think those are
Don't tell people what you believe. It's kind of ironic, actually. You'll see this pattern emerge in politics. We've been in campaigns where the politicians will literally say, don't tell the voters what it is that we believe. That's really ironic, right? In a democracy. Okay. And we released this video of this man, Alex Martinez, and they say tweets, as expected. The video was posted this evening by Project Veritas. There may be more videos to come. That's for damn sure. Please remember that we have an obligation to protect information. So what's wild about this moment in time was that our undercover journalist was meeting with Martinez, and Martinez proceeded to take out his phone and read the contents of the confidential memorandum inside Twitter to our Project Veritas undercover journalist.
Let me see. How to protect yourself. Groups like Project Veritas are active right now. Is that?
Now, our undercover journalist intentionally mispronounces the name Project Veritas. What the F is that? Project Veritas, like Bonjour. And he says, well, I met you, we did not meet you on a Tinder app. We met you organically, so I can trust you.
It's like some group that's trying to just out the employees. Like they're trying to go on dates with them like this and record them and then go sell it to the New York Times and say this is what the Twitter employees say. Like this is what's really happening. This is what the colonists are not doing. You're lucky that you met me organically because I would be questioning everything about you.
You're lucky that I met you organically. Because I'd be questioning. I mean, this is, you can't write, like, this seems like a comedy bit right now. You cannot make this stuff and forget Hollywood. I mean, really, reality is far stranger than fiction ever was. And it's also great because it's cultural. This is interesting. These videos I'm showing you were viewed millions and millions, I sound like Trump, billions and billions and billions, millions of times, and I'm banned on Twitter. So, this is another graphic of Martinez. This one's more complicated. Okay, so this now Asperger's is trending on Twitter. Elon Musk responds by saying the Twitter executive is trashing speech, mocking people with Asperger's. So I decide to confront this man, Alex Martinez. So my colleague gets up to go to the bathroom, and in his seat sits James O'Keefe. It's always amazing to see the look on. It's like To Catch a Predator, right? To Catch a Predator, they went after guys for sex crimes. And we're applying that to everything else, to expose the corruption in our government and in our media. So I sit down, and it's worth noting that the first odd thing that happens in this interaction is, this is in New York City, okay? New York City, the Upper West Side, which you might think nobody likes me there. pretty safe assumption, right? It's not like in this room. And I'm approaching this man in the street, and first of all, there appears to be a demon that's right next to him there. And he's sitting in what looks like a church pews. The whole thing is an allegory, so here we go.
Hi, Alex. I'm James O'Keefe in Project Veritas. And you are on camera talking about Elon Musk. And you say that he has special needs, and he's quote going to say some crazy shit because he's special needs. You also, you're also on tape.
So we're just gonna pause. Is there people pause that there as we go to the next video?
First Amendment. I know that you don't.
Keep going. So I meet this owner of this restaurant, and you know, she's like, "What are you guys doing?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to talk to the tour guide." And then this is in the Upper West Side of New York City. She goes, "Oh, I'm a big fan of what you guys do at Project Veritas." Pause. They scroll. Fast forward to the guy in the black hat. There he comes out. This guy is her husband. He's a huge fan of Project Veritas, and he says, "Oh, your Twitter dude is hiding in my bathroom. Go get him." So then finally, we're waiting for this guy to come out, and they actually buy me dinner at the restaurant. So we sit down. This is Cinco de Mayo in New York City, and they have this restaurant. So we're eating dinner Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. We sit down, and suddenly Alex Martinez emerges from the bathroom. And he comes outside and he starts to go on a full-out sprint. I was walking briskly, following him. Here we go. Oh, there he is.
I take a jog. Why are you running? Why are you running away from us? We're talking here with a Twitter executive on the streets of New York City who's literally gone in an all-out sprint. You share an email with us. You're already covering your face. You share an email with us here where you said, it said, don't disclose confidential information. Do you understand the irony? You're literally disclosing an email. It says, here's the email. Team, groups like Project Veritas are active right now. Excuse me. Sir.
So then I think, okay, I've lost him. You know, he's going to go into this building. But he forgot his keys.
What is Elon Musk going to do when he sees this? James O'Keefe.
Something, all right. Now he's, I mean, this is like wild. By the way, credit to the Project Veritas cameraman. Hey, Gavin's with me. He's the cameraman. So Gavin's like jumping over cabs, dogs, running backward. I mean, this is a really difficult shot. I mean, you see that? It's not easy to do in New York City. So then he runs into what appears to be another business or restaurant. I think, all right, the first owner of the restaurant loved me, but the odds of the second owner, I mean, that's like, you know, 1 in 1,000 times 1 in 1,000. That's a very unlikely situation. Usually what happens is they call the police, right? They just call the cops, which is ironic because they want to defund the cops, but they call the cops. And they say, there's this guy who's harassing me with his microphone and his reporter's notebook. Call the police, call the FBI. So I'm just used to it by now. I'm used to everyone wanting to jail me for asking questions. So what's going through my mind as the subject walks into the establishment is he's going to talk to the owner, and the owner is going to call the police. So let's see what happens. So walks in there. Let's go back to that moment in the video where he walks into the place.
What is this? I'm on the street in New York City trying to talk to this Twitter executive. Whew.
Now, the moment that the guy comes out,
Down the street to New York.
The guy comes out of the restaurant. I don't know if we have it, but let's go to the end of that scene there. And the owner, this was a comedy club in New York City, came out and said that he was a fan of Project Veritas. I Do we have that clip? No, we don't have it. So he comes out right after this moment. This is the guy named Danny. This is apparently a famous New York comedy club that this Twitter engineer ran into. And then the owner said, my Twitter executive, this Twitter guy, is hiding in the audience of my comedy club. And he says, James, would you like to go on stage and call him out? This is not truly happening. So, you know, I feel like part of my mission is to inspire hope in you. Fact number one, the ACLU is defending me. Fact number two, every business this guy ran in New York City is a fan of Project Veritas. Maybe there are more people out there that actually have common sense than the media leads us to believe. Okay. Do we have the? Let's go to the. Let's go to the New York Times side with